website, and she said this. She said, after all we've done, after all that's happened, I wonder if generations unborn will ever know what was done for them. The sacrifice, the toil, the blood, the treasure, the heartache, what was spent to secure their liberty and their freedom. She knew that it was worth the cost. The founders knew that it was worth the cost. And think of where you stand. You literally stand with us on hallowed ground. This is hallowed ground of freedom. And that freedom was purchased at an incalculable price that none of us can ever truly comprehend. And for 233 years, every generation that has come before has faithfully handed the baton of freedom to the next generation. And so now we are that privileged generation, privileged to be here today, privileged. And you stand here in place for other freedom-loving Americans all over the country today who would give anything to be where you are, who would give anything to stand here right now on this hallowed ground. But they are here. Can you feel them? I can feel them. Americans yearning to keep a country that will be free, that for the next 233 generations will go on not only to secure liberty for Americans, but also a place of refuge for those who know nothing but oppression across the world. America is that country for good and freedom and justice. That is America. When we came down to this final hour, as the clock is ticking 11:59 on this health care reform, Speaker Pelosi is poised with her health care bill to take over 18%. Trying to figure out what could we do, because quite simply, the Republicans don't have the votes to kill this bill. Every lever of power is controlled by one party now in D.C. We tried to figure out what we could do.
You could have been in Area 23 yesterday!
But what we knew was unlimited was the voice of persuasion of the American people, and that's why you're here today. Capitol, and for anyone who can make it, please come. Join us to stand for freedom, and if it's the last hour, we'll have a meetup for freedom and let our voices be heard. One of the very first voices to respond to that call came to my cell phone when I was at home in my living room in Minnesota last Saturday. And it was a true patriot, a true national treasure. As a matter of fact, he started a movie called National Treasure. Would you please help me welcome Mr. John Boyd?
What a crowd. No wonder I couldn't get a room. I'm so deeply proud to be among you brave, concerned, patriotic American citizens. And I brought two other folks with me on the trek from Los Angeles, and I'd just like to have them say a word or two to you. A dear friend of mine, a small business owner who was representative of all the small business owners around our country who are suffering in one form or another. He has a special story to tell. I'd like to have Shalom Berkman just step forward and say hello.
Great to be here. It's an honor. I'm here to represent, or on behalf of small businesses, entrepreneurs that make the backbone of America and who do not want